Welcome to the Playtest podcast. I'm Dane Kabika, and today we are joined by Kostas and Sarah to talk about their point-and-click adventure game, Theropods. Why don't you guys start by kind of introducing yourselves and what you do on Theropods?
Awesome. I guess I'm starting. I'm Kostas. I do what I do on Theropods is game design, writing, and the animation.
Okay.
Basically it's me and Sarah are both like the game designers in this game.
Okay, cool. And Sarah?
I'll let Sarah talk now. Sorry.
I'm Sarah. I'm Sarah. Online, I go by the name Tiny Stuffs. I do pixel art. I help design the game, but I also do the character art and animation.
Okay,
But
cool.
when Kostas says he does the animation, he does the what do you call it? The rough animation, like in 2D, line art kind of thing.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
do the pixel
Very,
animation on
very
top of
rough,
that.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I'm not good at all with making art like polished and finalized, and Sarah's really good at this. So I just like put out the animations like as rough as they can, and then we collaborate together, and that's in the end it just looks nice.
So who's doing like the programming and stuff like that? Like you have other teammates, right?
Okay, so our other teammates, we don't actually have a programmer. For the demo, I did the programming
Oh, really?
in an engine called Adventure Game Studio.
Yes. Okay.
We decided to remake the demo because we'd had a bit of difficulties with previous programmers and it ended up not looking how we wanted it to look. So kind of just decided to take on myself with no programming experience, and I learned how to use it and made the demo. So yeah, we are thinking about looking for an actual programmer to help on the full thing.
How is jumping into Adventure Game Studio? Is it actually code or is there, how's that work?
So I thought it would be like, okay, so I've tried picking up Unity before, and that's just so confusing.
Sure.
So compared to that, it's a lot easier. But the thing is, I thought there wouldn't be that much actual coding involved, or like not a lot of it, but there is a lot. There's a lot that you can do just within the interface and all that, but there is still a lot of coding. You need to do the scripting and all that. But
and you had to just get into it and try to start learning.
Yeah, it was tough, but like there's an amazing community that comes with it, and the forums are full of useful. I didn't actually post anything on the forums because I was felt like I was too newbie and like my questions weren't good enough. But I'd normally always find that someone had already asked the question and I could find a helpful answer. Or there's the manual that comes with it, which is massive. But
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it makes it a lot pretty easy.
Do you think you guys would be
take me a long time?
You think you guys would be continuing with Adventure Game Studio when you start getting into the broader project?
Yeah, I'd like to, but like the issues that comes with it is porting.
Right.
But people are actually working on doing porting for like Switch, but like it's not. I don't know if there's many people doing it. Yeah. It's pretty new. So we'd like to, but it kind of depends. If we get a programmer on board, we need to talk to them about it and see what's best.
Yeah, because AGS at the moment ports at PC. Like I know it ports for Mac too with a little work. I know it ports for Linux, but yeah, you need to find the people that actually know how to do this and
I see.
And do it like that. It's not like because Unity is called Unity because it just like does exports to everything easily, and that's like one of the pluses. But yeah, it's a bit trickier for our game. As Sarah said, we tried with Unity and we tried using this plugin called Adventure Creator.
Yeah.
Again, through other programmers, which, by the way, we did have difficulties, and one of the reasons was that we couldn't pay them, and fair enough, they had to move on to projects that actually pay. So that's one of the reasons we're actually doing this Kickstarter now, to be able to fund the programming aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
But cool. We're after researching a little bit more of AGS, and if we can find a way to port stuff, then we might stick with it actually, because it's it's been pretty good to us so far.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's really interesting because I've tried to look into Unity and Unreal and all those different type of programs, and they're completely different from each other. As long as you can learn a code, but then you have to work with the system, and yeah, it just seems like so much. But what that brings to like, what are your guys' backgrounds as creators before Theropods?
Well, we met on an animation course, an animation degree. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the UK.
Oh, that's cool.
We were in so we met in the course there. We did animation, and then not immediately, but we thought since we both know how to animate, that games have animation, so we might as well try and do something that's interactive and uses animation, because we were,
you were doing 2D animation and I was doing stop motion animation with puppets, which is like totally different.
Right.
Yeah, and there are some adventure games with like stop motion.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I cannot imagine that. Like, they look amazing, but the amount of work that would have been involved in it is
and
crazy.
the elaborate sets that they have to create.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, it really is. So, when you guys, have you done anything before? That class, that course, that because I know Kostas, you have some like short films and stuff, right?
Right. I actually did that after animation because I felt like in our animation school they were kind of encouraging us to do films as part of our every year you had to submit a film.
Sure.
So they were like, either 1 minute, 2 minutes, because animation takes so much time, so it had to be very short. So through that, I think it really helped me with storyboarding and coming up with stories, and it's basically kind of directing but with drawings. And then I thought that I could also try using a camera instead of, drawing every frame, and I could just it would be a bit faster if I shot someone. I didn't have to draw him blinking, and he actually blinked, for example.
Yeah, right.
So I started doing some short films and enjoying it a lot, and eventually, I shot a few years ago a feature film.
Oh, okay.
In Greece, obviously. So, because it was pretty, it was an amazing experience because it's nothing like school can offer you doing a feature film.
Oh, sure.
All this knowledge you get from.
Right.
But so it went pretty well, I guess. It went on to cinemas, so that was pretty cool.
Really?
And it was also an action film, which for Greece you don't really have any.
Oh, yeah.
But also because you don't really have a film industry in Greece, it wasn't really a sustainable career for me. I had to move on to other stuff.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's basically storytelling, which I really love doing. So.
Oh, sure.
Really, one of the reasons for why I really like this game is because we're doing, jungles and dinosaurs and space pods and stuff. And I don't really need a budget if I would be making a movie, to do all that. Mm-hmm. Which I would never be able to do without animation. So that's
right.
Fun.
That's so cool. Cool. So after that project, do you think that's what it kind of launched you into that mindset to where you're like, you can do more elaborate things with video games?
Yeah, I think also that what I took from doing films is kind of explaining your vision to other people and how useful it is to have a team that everyone collaborates together, because even more so in films, you can't do it. You can't be a one person and make a film. You definitely need you need more people.
Right.
So it was it was through experimenting with all that, it was very interesting to, express what you want to achieve creatively and talk to other people and communicate and collaborate. And I think that really helped, and see the scope of a project and what it's like to be finished, and to criticize yourself about, what took too long, what didn't, how you managed everything. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of poured into game development, about organizing a project and getting a team together and look at the workload and assigning it. So I think that was really good to learn from all that.
So do you think going from guerrilla style outside filming, trying to make a film, to back to your desk and have more of a almost a criticized workload. Is it a completely different world, or do you think a lot of things cross over?
Kind of. I mean, that point was one of the reasons I switched from animation to films, was that, yeah, it was just like very lonely, and it was just you and your desk for months, and you never socialized much with everyone.
Right.
But seeing, I don't know, like, it's kind of the same with game design, but when you can actually go to game festivals and you can have like a demo of your game there, and you can interact with people, you can see them play live.
Right.
So this is a whole different experience from, like, being in a cinema with other people and watching your film. I think just like being next to them and watching them play is also kind of, I don't know, it's kind of mind-blowing to experience as if for the first time what you've been making for ages and ages and ages, but it's an interactive experience. So
the complete difference of watching a film and having somebody actually touch it, right?
Exactly, yeah, it's pretty cool. That's why I really like sometimes when we watch Let's Plays of our own stuff, which is like, it's kind of like, yeah, it's because when it's a film, you never watch the audience watching the film. You watch the film with them, and maybe you listen to them. But yeah, if you actually see them play, it's really cool.
Right, that's cool. And Sarah, what is your background as far as you said? Have you always done animation and art?
Not necessarily animation, but I've always done art, just in any sense. Like I did stop motion animation. I really enjoyed the actual building of the sets and making puppets. I do sculpture. Like, not sculpture. That makes that sound like not like crazy stuff. It's just like, polymer clay that you bake in the oven.
Yeah, like claymation, stuff like that.
But I don't animate with it. I just build like little sculptures and things like that.
I see. Okay.
And what else do? I paint. So I do watercolor paintings of animals.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a whole variety of stuff like that. I just like creating.
So what is it like going from just creating like stuff like you were talking about, that kind of art, from having it to be interactive? What is that like for you?
Yeah, it's
strange, right?
It's great. And it's really, well, yeah, I mean, firstly, like the fact that I went from doing art related things like building puppets or models, and my paintings are very, very detailed. Going from that to like pixel art, like I don't even know I remember why I picked up pixel art and decided to start playing around with that, and not even detailed pixel art. It's like the chunky low res
right.
I don't even know like why I started it, but I really, really enjoy it, and it's kind of a a challenge to create something in like, to create like a character in like 10 pixels or something.
Yeah,
I don't know how many, but
and make them expressive too, and all that.
I like the challenge of that. But yeah, then taking that and like creating a game, especially like programming it as well. I hated that. I really enjoyed it at first because it's like, I just put the background in, and I put like the character in, and I can walk around, and then you then get bogged down once all the backgrounds are out with like all the the AI and things like that, and I hated that so much. But once it was done,
and that's when you're like, we have to pay somebody. We have to.
Yeah. but like when we.
To jump in, I just want to say that Sarah did an amazing job, like considering that she had to learn this in a year. Like, yeah, it was a bit unfair.
The programming.
It was a bit unfair to like come and do the project with pixel artist and end up being the programmer. So she definitely took one for the team to like learn and do that.
Yeah, where were you? Yeah. You were just drawing and stuff, and you're like, learn code.
Yeah, I was hating I was hating programming so much. I was like, I didn't even try to say that I would try.
No, we talked about it, and I was like, hey, AGS is a thing. Why don't we try and like we can together like try and work out how to program and see if it's a doable thing to just do it ourselves.
Why don't you?
Got him to download it. I tried it out a bit. I was like, hey, like open it up, and like and I told him like what to do, and it's like instantly like no. You just couldn't do it. I don't blame him. Like you need to have the right mindset and everything for it. And like I don't know.
Yeah, especially coming from like such a creative background, right? So you're like jumping into like a whole entire different world, really.
That's why I was so surprised I was actually able to pick it up. And I'm not sure I would have been able to. I'm not sure I would have been able to with Unity. I had actually tried in Flash before. I did a tiny bit of action script a long time ago, and I tried making like a simple little game, and I just couldn't finish it because it was like this little crab that rotated around like following your mouse, but I couldn't work out how to make a border on the screen, so he'd go off the screen and just disappear. So I just gave up on that. But like,
but then again, it's not like your Flash skills would be needed today because the Flash kind of disappeared, which is a bummer. But we actually had we did a version of the game in 2015.
Oh really?
Sorry, just going back to this because it was in Flash. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Right.
And the very first version of this game, when we had a programmer back then, when Flash was actually still being around.
Sure.
We joined Adventure Jam, which is a competition where you have 2 weeks to make a game. And this is the very first time we started with this project with Theropods. We were like, we always wanted to make an adventure game, so this is there's a deadline there, so we can actually do it. We put together a team, which was basically us, Zach Striefel, which is our musician, and Seething Swarm, which is his nickname, which was our programmer for Flash. And we did this game in 2 weeks. So that's the first, version of Theropods and Flash.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And what do you think influenced you to make a game like Theropods, and especially in the style of the art and game design?
Yeah, I don't like. Okay, so I guess I don't remember if Sarah wanted that much, but I really wanted to make a game with dinosaurs.
Okay.
Because and definitely in 2D, because I don't know, it was an excuse to draw dinosaurs, and I thought it would be good obstacles in a game.
Sure.
And I don't know, I really loved Dino Crisis when I was growing up.
Oh God, yeah.
That was the coolest thing ever. To just like
terrifying.
Even if it was crazy. It was basically Resident Evil but with dinosaurs.
I know, right?
Exactly. Especially, I never played the first one, but I played the second one and I loved it. So we thought also for an adventure game that would be a really cool idea to do, because we need to have some sort of humans into it to be able to kind of follow up a story.
Sure.
Because you could do dinosaurs, but I don't know, I couldn't really.
You don't want talking dinosaurs.
Yeah, but the thing is that we didn't have talking humans either, because we thought that the idea of having like a primitive tribe would mean that they wouldn't really have English, so they would have to communicate kind of like in The Sims, where it's like a made-up language.
Right.
Still, but we would take advantage of our knowledge with animation to emote the characters, so they would be telling the player basically what they feel or what they do or what they think about this item or this problem or whatever.
Right.
So the idea was to kind of try and make a silent game, and it came organically in the style of it because, as Sarah said, she was experimenting with pixel art for a while, and I think at the time of the Adventure Jam, Sarah was joining a different team, but the last second it fell apart, and I was gonna do this anyway because I was with a programmer, but I was gonna do it in my own 2D style, which was really Rust. And then Sarah came on board the team, and having pixels was a no-brainer with her skill.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of so that's how the look of it kind of came around.
Okay, that's really cool.
Guess.
That's cool.
Sorry, I'm talking over Sarah. I hope I don't interrupt you or anything. Do you wanna, just let me know.
I just wanted to say that, as far as the fact that it's an adventure game, a point-and-click adventure game,
right?
Is because we love point-and-click adventure games. We've always actually wanted to make one.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what kind of adventure game, point-and-click adventure games, are you guys most influenced by?
Monkey Island.
Oh yeah, okay. No brainer, huh?
Curse of Monkey Island, especially, I guess. I don't know. For me,
oh
I really like that one.
No, we're on the same page with that. Yeah, I don't know. The first time I played the Curse of Monkey Island, and I realized that it's basically a cartoon that's interactive.
Yeah, right.
Such a good 2D animation. I really love this.
Yeah, that's the first one and that's funny you say that because you're going more of like the most pixelated art style, which is
true. But in an animation style, I think we kind of have the same principles as Curse of Monkey Island because I think we have more animation than most adventure games. Like
there's a lot
really
of animation,
frame by frame animation in it, and we thought that even if, like for example, a character who would talk to you, he would go like. Oh, this door is locked, but we actually have to have the character try and push the door and struggle and then get frustrated. And this is like a little animation that we have to make for this. So we did make it harder for ourselves, but I think it's kind of rewarding for the player to see all those little animations every time, and they get feedback.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that because it's not like you in adventure games or point and click games that you get like, oh, try this, and you see the character kind of like fail at it. It's more of like, oh, this item doesn't work with that, and then it'll be like some like smug like comment, So yeah, it is.
Or sometimes what I noticed lately, which fair enough. Some teams want to save up in animation, so it's little tricks. So it's like a character finds a spot to dig and they have a shovel, and it's like, oh, this is going to take a long time. And then it fades to black and then it goes back and there's a hole.
Right.
So, like, obviously, you're not going to sit around and watch that for 10 minutes, but, it's kind of like we do like making it hard on ourselves because we enjoy making the animations. And I think ultimately the players enjoy watching these animations.
Sure, that's what makes it unique, right?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like a little visual reward for the player. So every time you do something right, you see a little new animation, and that keeps you motivated to keep playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talking about like Curse of Monkey, and I think really, I think why Full Throttle talked to me so much is because you had so much animation in that game.
Yeah,
you had
the cutscenes were amazing too.
They were, and they were so detailed, and they had amazing voice acting. So you felt like a lot more immersed than like Monkey.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I felt like you had more like the first Monkey. You feel like it's more static, It's
but it's technology again.
Yeah, that too.
It's kind of unfair to compare them, but I guess like Curse of Monkey Island, for example, it was similar to Full Throttle, even like with the cinematic sequences that were all like really nicely directed, and the voice acting was impeccable.
Right. Yeah.
So I love, like, I agree with you. I love those kind of adventure games that feel like almost like cartoons or movies.
Sure. Yeah, and it's funny. It's adventure games. They're so unique to me as well because I'm kind of the younger generation that really didn't get to see that, but I had older cousins that were like, "Oh, check this game out," and like. Full Throttle was like blew me away. So I've been like a super fan like ever since I was a young kid. So I was actually able to meet Tim Schafer at this art gallery that he was doing for Broken Age. And that's like I have a picture with him, and I tried telling my fiance I was going to put it on my desk, but she said no.
Put it instead of your fiance, put Tim Schafer.
Yeah, just a cutout.
He doesn't understand. It's fine.
I know. I think she does. If I did it, I really think she would just shake her head, really. But no, it's cool to see like so many people being influenced by those games that I felt I was alone in what I liked. And so it's like because they're so unique, and like all my friends, they would look at that and be like, "What do you mean? We're playing GTA. I wouldn't even touch that."
I play GTA too.
Yeah, me too. But you know what I mean? Like
it was a bit different for me. Not in that like. When I started playing, for example, Curse of Monkey Island, like I was back in school, and like the internet was like super new back then, so it wasn't even like much of a thing. But I remember like I think I like passed around the CD to my friends, and they were all like kind of playing it. And then because we didn't have any walkthroughs, we were all kind of it was up for grabs what was going on in the game. Whoever went far ahead, they would be the ones who would have the knowledge of what happens in the game.
Right.
So I just remember like having like random classmates of mine calling me at home and saying, "Hey man, I'm stuck here. Like, what do you do? Can you give me any hint?" So I was just trying to give them hints without like spoiling it.
Right.
So yeah, I was like the go-to person in my class, like asking hints about Curse of Monkey Island and stuff like that.
That's so great.
But that was really fun. I think not having any walkthroughs and just like
Well, that also brings me to like a problem I have with some point-and-click games. Well, when they remastered the Monkey games, they like had a help button, and it was like once you found that, you're like, no, I don't want to touch it, but I have to. But, you know, I think the fun, too, and the point of, like, design in a game is to be able to kind of walk people around that and kind of give them enough, like, hints in the story and that's what, like, makes that experience. And like you were saying, like, not having the internet and stuff, you know, you don't want to look that stuff up because it spoils it.
No, it is a very, very, very hard to maintain of, like, not spoon-feeding players, but at the same time not being vague enough. Because and there's also like unless you playtest the game you can never know, because like sometimes you give like we saw this with our demo, for example, that we thought we were pretty clear on giving clues and hints, and then for example like maybe there's a hint that it's kind of like part of an animation or a cutscene, and if the person misses that then they just missed the hint, and then we thought like we're pretty clear, and then they missed it, and I was like, okay, now that they missed it there's nothing to tell them that.
Oh, I see what you
mean. So it's very tricky. Like you have to playtest sometimes and see like other people have to playtest it, and you have to like see where you screwed up and go back to the drawing board. So it's I understand the need for walkthroughs in general, but yeah, like I think like the best example of a walkthrough within a game for me, I don't know if there's a better one, but I don't know if you played Machinarium.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they have this little book which is like a mini game.
Oh, I know, right?
Navigate through, and even then, it doesn't even tell you like what it is. It just shows you like
a map, right?
That you kind of have to put together to kind of vaguely find out what to do. So that was kind of a smart idea,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's a new puzzle to solve the puzzle, but yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is like so unique, and I would have never thought about that myself, but. You know, it's also you guys are you're not struggling, but you're putting yourself in this position where if you don't use voice or text, it's all through, like you said, animation. And so you're telling a story through gestures and the story that's unfolding in the scenery, which is really unique to you know, your game, because what you're used to is people giving hints or talking to somebody to kind of get an idea or
and it's also kind of a crutch sometimes, I think, like, you know, it's like, I don't want to say it's kind of the easy way, but sometimes it gives you the way to be a bit lazy with a hint sometimes, but yeah, like I know it's tough for us, but at the same time, like we do have sound to give you hints, even if we don't have voice and words. Like so if a character like goes like like you can express that there's thinking about something as if the player is on the right track, but they haven't solved it exactly.
Right.
So we can give subtle hints to the player even with some voice acting, even if it's not words.
Sure.
But we're basically trying to use every trick in the book to just like get our point across.
Well, also that you don't have to worry about paying for localization if the game were to have voices.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to, I guess, but it's not as much as, you know, if it's menus and like, you know, stuff like that, then it would be way easier than other games where.
Yeah, loads of dialogue trees.
Yeah, right. No, I was looking at.
We got no dialogue trees, only normal trees in the game.
Only trees. Yeah, I was talking to. I don't know if you're familiar with. I think you follow them on Twitter, but you know the game Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure.
Yeah, definitely. We know each other, you know, online, but yeah, definitely.
Right. And, you know, it's he was talking about how he had to localize it and have different voice actors. And I just couldn't imagine, first of all, how much money that would cost. Then you have to worry about talent, you know. Is somebody that speaks Portuguese, are they a good actor?
The same way.
Yeah, and how do you portray, like, that Romanian, like, sense, too, you know? That's in, like, this, you know, it's just really interesting.
How many languages? I suspected they would have different voice acting. know they actually fully voice acted the game in many different languages, but I knew they localized it at least in 10.
I'm not sure specifically, but I know I'm pretty sure he said something about having a few different. So yeah,
Wow,
it's just
that's crazy though.
Nuts. But yeah, no, I think it's you say it's lazy, but honestly, I think it's like unique. Honestly, people are gonna start looking at it as lazy if you say it's lazy. But
no, I don't. I mean you can get lazy with giving hints in your adventure game by having the player saying, I can't do that, or no.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Simply, but
the other way around.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that, people are lazy for talking in their games. It's just that it kind of lets you, relax sometimes. Like you see it in some games where they can be bothered to say, no, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And it's like a general line that you can use in like 4 different items.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right. So, there's obviously been like a growing amount of point and click games throughout throughout just even the last few years. What do you think it is about like point and click games that keep coming back and people are still attaching to it?
Sarah, I have some theories, but if you want to go ahead.
You go on. I don't know, I can't think of anything. I know why I like them, but like...
Yeah, I think it's because, like, first of all the people who were playing adventure games were about our age, and now they're grown up and they can make their own, so that's what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
I also think that because of I also think Kickstarter is a big part of it, because now you can definitely find your own audience and they can finance you if you want to make such a small game. And I think they literally kickstarted the whole thing was golden age with doing amazingly well on Kickstarter,
right? And
then slightly restarting adventure games again,
right?
At least if I'm not mistaken, I guess the second coming of adventure games came around there.
Wow, you've thought of these questions before, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I was wondering myself why adventure games are back in action, but I think these are the reasons for me that most people our age grew up playing those games, and now they love them so much and they want to make them like we did. Mm-hmm. And that you see that it's also the audience is our own age too.
Yeah,
and that you see that there's a market now. So even if it's not a huge market, people love them and they want more, and that's pretty cool. What do you're not alone, as you said.
What do you think, as because it is a niche genre? What do you think you will do? You guys will do on your game that'll try to pull in the younger crowd that doesn't hasn't ever played a point and click game? Is there things that you can think of?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
There you go. Straightforward.
Dinosaurs and colors.
Right.
Well, I was gonna say that one lesson we learned when we're making the game jam version of the game, for example, was I'll use an example that everyone in adventure game knows. Mm-hmm. Like you go to your inventory and you can combine items together, right?
Right.
So we had a puzzle like that in the game jam version, mm-hmm. but we never kind of had any tutorial for it because it's obvious to us. And then I had some people play it, friends of mine that have never done this before, like they've never played an adventure game before, and they got stuck at the point where they had to combine items. And then I kind of I was like, yeah, of course. I never took them by the hand and told them, hey, you can actually go to this inventory and use items together. It's not obvious if you haven't played games like that, is my point.
Sure.
So what we're trying to do with our game, at least, is that we're gonna you have, I think, to be a good game developer, you have to be kind of a good teacher, to teach the person who picks up. You have to assume that the person who picks up your game picks it up for the first time, and kind of tell them okay, you click here to walk, good, and then you do this. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute tutorial. It can be really simple, mm-hmm. but you have to set up your rules. You shouldn't assume that they know them. Right. So I think this is a thing we take into consideration. We want people to have an easy transition into the game and then pick up the pace and then be able to do whatever they want in it because we gave them the tools to do it.
Yeah, honestly, I think the only way I've seen that done is for instance in Mechronarium, I think they use a thought bubble. Yes. Because now that I think about it, they have no talking in that game, so.
No, they compared to us, they use we don't have the resolution to do that. right, but they also like the first puzzle also is very limiting. So a good tutorial on those kind of games is basically like usually the first puzzle is locking a person in a room so they don't have too much complication in the puzzle and they can get to learn the rules. And even I think in Machinarium, I think in the first puzzle you just don't even have arms or legs, so you're just trying to recover them.
Right.
So even the walking distance you can walk is limited. So they put you in a tiny box, so you have no option but to click on like 3 different things, and then you learn about it.
Like for Curse of Monkey, where you're stuck in like the
exactly
that one little room and you're trying to get out of the boat. Yeah,
exactly.
I never thought of that before. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah,
it's one of the easiest ways to just lock them in a room and let them get out.
Yeah, right. They'll end up clicking on something and puts 2 and 2 together. Right.
The problem with that is making a game that's too crammed with those kind of rooms. And the opposite problem is having too much of a huge map and people get lost in it. Right. So yeah, there needs to be a balance with this, I think.
So, what would you think either of your guys' like favorite aspects about video games are? Like, obviously you guys have a skill set completely, well, not like sort of similar, but also different. Like, for instance, Kostas, you come from making films, and Sarah, you're more on like the art side. What do you think it is about video games that kind of pique your interest the most, anyways?
Most likely for me it is the art.
Okay.
It has to look good, but obviously that's not all there is to the game.
Sure.
But that's like the first thing that will draw me in.
How important?
It's kind of true.
How important?
Kind of true for me too. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're all right. How important to you is like the player's perspective, or them playing through the game, and do you get a lot of joy from like their excitement?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Very much. Like I watched a playthrough of our game, of the demo that we have on Kickstarter at the moment.
Right.
And yeah, the guy was like getting so excited about it and was like talking about the sound effects as well, and like yeah, that just like every little, like actually he was like really amazing to watch, because like every little thing that we were doing, like intending, like hoping that the player would realize what to do and everything, he was like just getting it all, like he was understanding like everything and knowing exactly what needed to be done.
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what I really like enjoy from doing this. Like I'm making this game so that, like, it's the kind of game that I would play, that I'd enjoy, but yeah, to be able to like create something and then share it with everyone else. And obviously not everyone's going to like it. You always get people out there who are going to have issues with it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just amazing, like seeing other people enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Kostas?
Yeah, same. To expand on what Sarah said, like I kind of enjoy also sort of like manipulating your audience. Like, for example, I think in both of our game jam and our demo, we tease the player that they can kind of hunt a dinosaur and harm them. And it's kind of like you like they're sitting in front of you and you have to pull out your spear and click with them. So you, as a player, like I know that you don't know exactly what's gonna happen. And like it's crazy, because every time we playtest it with people, some people are like, "Oh yeah, I get to kill him." And other people are like, "Oh crap, I don't want to kill them." So it's I really love teasing them with stuff like that, and we love to have this in our games. Because it's always different from different personalities. But this is also what I love about games, because the interactivity of it, and that compared to a movie, you just have to like think for a second, or these like aha moments that you get when you play adventure games, where you go like, oh yeah, of course I should have thought of that.
Right.
Which I think is also like one example of like good puzzles are puzzles that in hindsight they felt like they made sense, that they were smart.
Right.
And we do want to make the player feel smart after doing this. So this is also like audience. I think gamers' experience is really big for us.
That's cool. So yeah. Is this the first Kickstarter that you guys have ever ran?
Yes.
Is it like terrifying?
For me, actually, I'm sorry, Sarah has had one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have done it before. It's a way smaller scale compared to what we're doing now. Like way smaller.
Right. Is it like terrifying when you like post it and you're just like every day that number changes and time starts getting
it's really
shorter?
tiring.
Change, which is for today was a slow day, for example. Well, we know it's a marathon, so it's pretty exciting though. Like I'd rather be doing this than not doing it.
Right.
No, I'm very, very happy so far, and because we were so kind of scared about this, we tried to prepare as much as we could with getting the word out and basically letting people know this game exists before we put it out there.
Sure.
The worst feeling is to just like put it out in the void and no one knows about it.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of weird. It's in this kind of like this zone where it has this time limit, and it's like how like I saw this from one of the somebody from a game company that I had talked to before, and that's how I learned about it. So honestly, I don't know how else I would have learned from it, and so it's interesting, and it's already in it's time's running out for the Kickstarter, and it's really interesting. It's like, wow, no, I just saw this, so it's like crazy that through this time it's gonna grow, more people are gonna see it, and it's not really about like who already knows about it, but how many people are going to learn about it. And that's kind of like, that's crazy to think that a Kickstarter can grow in the process. So it's interesting that while time goes on, your numbers are going to change like drastically.
Yeah, especially like the first 48 hours from what we've read, and the last ones are the ones that are super important, because the last ones also put some sort of urgency because the project is ending. So
really?
Yeah, all those like people, all those people who've clicked on like remind me, like when it comes to the end of the project, because they haven't decided whether they can afford it or whether they want to back it yet.
Or understandably, some people are like, oh, it looks cool. I got 26 days. I'll look at it later, so they forget about it.
That's true.
Fair enough. That's why I do it too. But not if it's my project now. But but no, it's pretty like it's really awesome for us how you can find someone who definitely gets what you do and they really love having a game like that, and that feels like so good for us that we get to connect with people that they actually love what we do, and it's really humbling and really cool. Like that they're being so nice to us, so that has been amazing.
That's cool. So that's really cool. Yeah, I've seen.
Like, no matter what happens, this is like you can't take that away.
Oh, sure, and the people out there that are also developers are going to see what you're doing.
We're very lucky to have like a little like we have a really cool game developer scene that it's like most people we know that make those games have already supported us, and this is like huge for us. This is amazing.
That's so cool. So,
it's really, really cool, yeah.
What do you think you guys, so once you do get the access to that money, what are some of the opportunities that you will get to implement into the game? I mean it in the way like, what are, because you said that the money is going to go towards like a programmer, right? Like what other sort of things will it go to?
No, it's pretty basic so far. I mean, they would go basically to us for having salaries so that we can be able to work on this for not like as part-time as we've been doing so far. But like, I know it's not a huge amount to have to be doing this full-time anyway, but if it's our project and we have some money, then it's good for us, I think, compared to like the alternative.
Also, I know you asked ages ago, and I kind of went off topic, but you asked about what other members of the team we've got.
Right.
Because we don't have a programmer, but we do actually have a amazing background artist, Matt Frith.
Right.
And Zach, who did the music on the Game Jam version as well. And they've like done like a lot of work on the game from what you see like in the trailer and in the demo, but unpaid. So like we want to actually be able to pay everyone who's been working on the game for the amazing work that they've done.
And I'll add Tiana, our voice actor.
Yeah, Tiana, of course.
Yeah, it's good we mentioned them for an hour and a half anyway, but sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Right, I know. They're like, how could they? I'm not listening to this anymore.
Yeah, look at the water. So hopefully they're not listening at all, so that's fine.
So I saw that you guys tweeted Tim Schafer. You think did he ever get in contact? Yeah, I know. Let me call him up. I think he remembers me.
The main reason we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, right.
More than we do.
Right. You saw that picture. You're like, I knew it. We'd have a connection.
No, I mean, yeah, it was a bit cheeky, but we thought, yeah, sure, why not?
Why not? You know, honestly, I've seen him talk to. I remember when Brutal Legend came out, and I was able to get like. I know it sounds like I'm a crazy fan, but
we tweeted at him like you're
right. I know. No, I messaged him on like the PlayStation Network about like I was like a young kid. I'm like, oh, you should have this music in Brutal Legend, and he like messaged me back. He's like, oh no, I know we were trying, and I'm just like, why do you have the time to talk to like a 14-year-old? Like, I just think that's like great. I thought it was great, but no, it's cool. Yeah, I bring that up because I think it's he's really out there with the community.
No, it's actually yeah. It's also true that I saw him reply to some people on Twitter. I was like, maybe he will reply to.
Yeah, it's not like he's not like Bill Gates or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Which is our next thought.
Right. Maybe he'll program the game for you. I think.
Hey, Bill, I got a PC is my line.
Right, I know. So, where can we find you guys online, and when can we expect the game?
Sorry?
You can find us on. We've got a website which is theropodsgame.com.
Yes.
That's correct, right? We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, or on Instagram as Theropods Game.
Yeah, we're in Kickstarter as Theropods.
Yeah.
Theropods, an adventure game full of dinosaurs, is our title there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we plan to hopefully have the game come out in 2021. Is the date that we've set, but you know how these things go. We're gonna try our best.
But we would have said a year, but it's a lie, so we're gonna have another one and see what happens.
That's what everybody seems to
were
do.
talking. Yeah, we were talking with a developer who's already released a couple of games, and we said, yeah, we think in a year, and he said, oh, finish the game in a year, and like the look in his eyes, predicted. So we thought again.
Right.
Yeah. At the moment we have 23 days to go. At the moment of recording, I guess this, we're 1/3 of the way there. So if people like our voices and our opinions and the game and all that, they could maybe support us, and that would be amazing.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to tell all my friends and tell them they have to play the dinosaur point-and-click game. But
and we got a demo out, which is free, so anyone can play that, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Only for PC though, sadly, but yeah.
Well, that's okay. Everyone's got that PC. I think I'll share mine. How about that?
Oh, you're a sponsor.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I made this because I want people to know the developers behind the games that we love and see. So to get a better in-depth idea on how it all works. So
it's really awesome. Thank you for inviting us, and it's really cool from our perspective to listen to other game devs, who do adventure games and
right. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, it's a different nerdy process for us.
Yeah, right. Awesome. I know. Well, thank you guys. Good luck on the campaign, and you guys have a successful launch a successful development of the game.
Yeah, ending. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.